Hey guys, so today I'm here with a tutorial showing you how to make a tutorial. So in my couple of years on YouTube, I've made a lot of tutorials. I've shown you how to jailbreak, shown you different things about computers, about video games, you name it. If it's related to tech, I've probably done it. So the other day when I got a request on Facebook to do a tutorial showing you guys how I make mine, I figured that'd be a great idea. I know a lot of you guys are just getting into YouTube. Some of you guys actually have really successful channels. And what I decided to do was give you a kind of tips video, kind of give you some helpful pointers if you're deciding to create a channel or you already have one, on how to make a good tutorial. One of the biggest things you will learn when making a tutorial is that you have to be confident. People are not going to want to listen to you if you don't sound like you know what you're doing. So one of the biggest things is when you're doing a tutorial, you absolutely need to know what you're doing it on. Now that seems really obvious, but if it's just something that, like some program that you found on the internet and you want to show all your friends, go, hey guys, this is the way to do it, that's fine, but you need to know what you're doing with it. So in the middle of a tutorial, there should never be a time where you find a new feature and go, oh, and there's this. I mean, don't worry, it will happen. You know, there's always going to be, I mean, you're never going to find some specific thing that you know absolutely everything in and out. I mean, sometimes you might be able to, but you just need to be able to make sure and convey to the audience that you know what you're talking about and that you're very, very confident. So this is really something that I've found that just takes practice. You're not going to get on it overnight, but if you can sound confident, if you can make sure that everyone understands that you know what you're talking about, then you will go a long way. Something else you will learn really quickly is that it is okay to fail. Believe me, for every minute or two of footage that you see on my channel, there's probably 10, 15, 20 minutes of failed footage. So whether there was a technical difficulty, that maybe the camera's out of focus, so the audio didn't sound right, or perhaps I just flubbed up my line, it's absolutely okay to fail. What you just need to do is continue on. You need to just re-record, you need to just cut that bit out, you do it in editing, but don't be afraid. You're never going to go ahead and just get a perfect tutorial just right off the bat. I mean, I guess it's possible, but it's not very likely. So if you make a mistake, if you say a name or anything like that, sometimes it might be okay to just gloss over it and you just go, like if I say I'm going to make a tutorial, or you know, little stuff like that is not a big deal. But if you make a big mistake, if you call something the wrong name, or you know, something really big and obvious, don't worry about it. Just stop the camera, restart it, or you can edit it out or however you want to do it, and just redo it. It's not a big deal. Now moving away from the general stuff and talking more about the specifics, one of the biggest things is your equipment. Now equipment's definitely going to vary. Sometimes you may just need a camera, sometimes you're going to need a computer, screencasting, sometimes you're going to need to do voiceovers. There's a lot of different types, but in general you don't really have to worry about your equipment that much. The most important thing is you. If you're entertained to watch, if you sound like you know what you're talking about, that's going to go a long way. You know, that's a really great thing I like to tell people is, let's say you have a $10,000 high definition, just an amazing camera, you have just the best equipment in the world, but if you're stuttering, if you don't sound like you know what you're talking about, that's not going to be a very good video. On the other hand, if you really know what you're talking about, if you're an expert and you create a fantastic video, but if you film it on a cell phone from 2002, guess what? Even though the video looks junk, the audio and everything, people are still rather going to listen to you than if you had all the best equipment but you didn't know what you're talking about. So the number one thing you need to pay attention to is you. But of course, having nice equipment does help. So there's a couple things that I can help you with. So the first thing is a microphone. So this is what I started out with. This is a Rock Band microphone, of course the game Rock Band. You could sing into it and whatnot. And this is what I used to record my videos at the very beginning. Now, it's not very good. The audio quality is really, really bad. In fact, you can watch some of my first videos to find that out. But it really didn't matter too much because I was able to get the content, get the practice, all that kind of stuff. So most of the time you're going to need to record your voice. Sometimes you can get away with doing a tutorial without talking. But most of the time you're going to need to record. So you're going to need to find some kind of external microphone, perhaps like a USB mic. You might have a mic built into your computer or your phone or whatever. But odds are you'll be able to find a mic somehow in some way. Now another thing that might come in handy is a camera. Now again, sometimes you might not need this. For example, if you're doing a screencast, you might not need it. Or for example, if you have a webcam and you're just going to be talking to a webcam, that absolutely will work. But a lot of times, having a camera will really help. Now again, the type of camera and everything is not super, super important. Now it's nice, sure, to have a DSLR or like some really nice camcorder. You can absolutely get by on perhaps your cell phone camera or perhaps something a little kind of small like this. I mean, this costs about $100 or so. Shoots high definition video. I used it for about a year. So one of the biggest things I just want to get to you guys is that the equipment is not that important. What's really important is you that you're speaking well, and that you're giving people really useful and helpful advice. Okay, so now that you know the basics, you have your equipment set up, and you have the general idea of how you need to speak and be confident and whatnot, now you need to go ahead and get to editing your video. Now I will say that this is not always necessary. Sometimes you can just skip over the editing. A lot of times for a simple tutorial, just film it, you're done filming it, just upload it straight to YouTube, no problem. However, a lot of the time, especially with more advanced tutorials, it certainly helps if you know a little bit about editing, how to do it. Now there are a lot of different kinds of video editors available, and when you're first getting started, I recommend just using something basic. So if you're on a Mac, iMovie is going to work just fine. In fact, iMovie is a really solid editor, even if you're fairly advanced. And if you're on Windows, Windows Live Movie Makers are going to be a good shot. And that's about all you really need to go ahead and get a nice tutorial, put it up on YouTube, and do the whole deal. So if you guys have any questions, any comments, definitely be sure to leave them in the comment section below. I would be more than happy to help any of you guys out if you need any help. But until next time, guys, I will catch you in the next video.